Alright, so what I want to do for this assignment is I'm going to try and do video form because I'm really, really busy this week, and sitting down and typing out all my thoughts would take a very long time that I don't have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and approach the assignment from a perspective of me being the job interviewer, which I guess is probably the idea. The first thing I want to talk about is what I would see first when I'm reading the resume. In my personal opinion, if I was reading both sample 1 and sample 2, the first one is very When I saw the first one, I saw very compact, a lot of words. It doesn't look like what I've been taught to do a resume as. The focus is much too long. There's a lot of full sentences, and it's really, really hard to find the key points that I want to look for. Yes, each section is sectioned off with bold and underlined headers, but it's still very difficult to read because there's not a lot of space. It's not double spaced between each line. In just the focus, for instance, all the qualities are in the same sentence divided up by commas, and this makes it really, really hard for me as an interviewer who's probably only going to look at the resume for like 30 seconds before I decide if I actually want to read more, to decide if this person is at all qualified and worth my time. If it's hard for me to figure out who they are, all their school, whether they're even interested in this particular job, then I'm not sure that this is the resume for me. I don't personally like resume 1, and I think it's really, really hard to read. Alright, now if I pretend I'm being a super generous resume reader, and I decide that I'm actually going to read resume number 1, which I probably wouldn't if I was really looking for this job, because if someone doesn't even know how to put together a proper resume, then they're probably not the person I'm looking for a job with someone who's smart and educated and can problem solve and can get themselves into this field. So if I am being generous and I read it, first off, they meet a few of the qualifications. A few of the qualifications that the first resume meets is that they are proficient in Microsoft tools. They're not certified, but they're still very proficient, which is good. They seem to have great communication skills, proficient in computer programming and troubleshooting. They also seem to be really motivated and good at working on their own, which means they probably could deal with talking to another person on the phone, and if they're personable and are proficient at troubleshooting on the phone, then they should be relatively qualified for this job. Anything that they don't already have could probably be trained very quickly. Okay, so when I look at resume 2, I definitely see a lot more stuff that I like than in the first appearance than I saw in sample resume 1. First of all, it's much more organized in my opinion because each section is spaced out fairly well. There's a header on one side, then there's a space, and then there's the information that corresponds with that header off to the side. All of the sentences start with verbs, so they're very proactive. It's not too lengthy. It gets to the point. It's very easy for me to find the things that I'm looking for. Another thing that I noticed about resume 2 that I didn't see at all in resume 1, and honestly, I didn't really think about it too much until I saw it in resume 2, that I was like, yeah, that is what I want to see, is as I was reading through resume 2, all of the sentences start with keywords that were also mentioned in the job description. So it looks as if when they were looking at the job description, they thought, oh, hey, they want to see that I'm proficient in these different programs and these different forms of internet stuff. I'm not very good at that. HTML and stuff. And they went through and they said, I'm going to write in my skills that I'm proficient in this, this, and this. And they put them all down and they made it very easy to find. And it wasn't something I was searching for. It was right there. In resume 1, there was a few of the things in there, but they was just like proficiency in something. And honestly, for me, I don't know if just proficiency in web stuff is the same as being proficient in HTML and all these different consonants that have been put together and mean stuff to people. Yeah, so when I was reading resume 2, it jumped off the page. I found every point that I was looking for because since I don't know what most of this stuff was, I was comparing the resume and the job description that I was provided with. How many of these things does this person check off? So I would pick resume 2 to call for an interview.